episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name is Hussein. Happy to be with you. Happy you can be with me. And today, um, got kind of a funny title. Some are great mathematicians, some are great writers, and some are neither. And I know it's kind of a funny title, but I'm talking specifically about, in the Quran, there is a very interesting passage in the Quran where it says that Allah is going to enable the Muhammad's followers, soldiers, to overcome. Let's look at the verse. It's chapter 8, 65, and says, "O Prophet, urge the believers to battle. If there are among you 20, they will overcome 200. And if there are among you 100, they will overcome 1,000 of those who have disbelieved, because they are people who do not understand." Okay, so here we have the ratio of if there are 20, they'll overcome 200. That's 10 to 1, essentially. And if there's 100, they'll overcome 1,000. So that again is 10 to 1. If there's 100 with Muhammad, they'll overcome 1,000 of the disbelievers. Okay. But then when you go to the next verse, it says, "Now Allah has lightened the hardship for you, and He knows that among you is weakness. So if there are from among you 100 who are steadfast, you will overcome 200. So it changes from 1 to 10 to 1 to 2. If there's 100, they'll overcome 200. And if they're among you 1,000, they will overcome 2,000. So the ratio changes from 1 to 10 to 1 to 2. So, and essentially what he's saying is if there's one of you, originally he said, if there's one of you, steadfast believers, you'll overcome 10 of their people. But then Allah found out that there's weakness among them. And when he found out that there's weakness, he changed it. And he changed it from 1 to 10 to 1 to 2. And so, I just have a few questions about this, because, hello, Tiger, God bless you. Calculus. Well, Tiger, it doesn't take calculus for this one. I think first grade math would help. First grade math would help with this one. But this verse is so interesting. It's like, I have more rather than mathematical questions because I'm a writer. I've written books. I used to be a reporter, and so my issue isn't so much the mathematical obstacles or difficulties. My concern is more the theological issues involved with this. And I just had a couple questions about this. Allah tells them you're going to 1 to 10. There's one of you, you'll overcome 10. Then Allah discovers there's weakness. They get destroyed. And they get defeated. And then Allah lightens the load and says, okay, you don't have to each kill 10, just kill 2, And so they were defeated. And when they were defeated, Allah lightened the load. And so it's just like very interesting. It's very interesting. I'm asking a question now. If the Quran is uncreated, if the Quran is from the annals of eternity, it's like from, it's uncreated, meaning in a sense it's like Allah, because Allah is uncreated and the Quran is uncreated. It's His word, okay? And it's uncreated. And so from eternity past, on the Lawh al-Mahfuz, which is not created, um, there were these words that if there's one of you fighting, this is in the Battle of al-Badr, one of you will overcome 10 of them. One of Muhammad's soldiers will overcome 10 of the disbelievers. But they got destroyed, they got defeated. And then Allah, or yeah, the uncreated word of Allah, says, learned, knew, Allah knew that there was weakness among you. Okay, um, so if there was, when did Allah find out that, um, when did Allah find out that there was weakness? When did Allah find out that there was weakness among them? Did He know this from eternity past and write it on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Okay. Um, what is the, did Allah find out? I'm just going to look at the, it says here, in the Arabic, I'm going to look, الآن, this is now, خفف, Allah lightened, Allah, عنكم, وعلم, and knows, in fikum dafan, that there is in you weakness. And you guys, you should know this word. This word in Arabic is dafan. Dafan. I'll give $5 to whoever can tell me another word that almost, I'm sure you guys know this word. Dafan. There's another word, sounds very much like this, and I think you know dafan. Fikum dafan. See if anybody catches this or figures it out. Okay. Well, the word dolphin, you guys, let me just tell you, is um, dolphin is French royalty. Dolphin actually, dof, dof comes a word that you would know. Almost everybody who knows Islamic um, apologetics would know this. It comes, it's like the root word for the word da'if. Da'if. And what does da'if mean? Who knows what da'if means? Da'if. I know, I know you guys know this, so I'm just going to give you a chance here. Daf is the noun, right? Houston Euler, weak. Daf is weakness. Daf is weakness. Da'if is weak. And so this is the same word, daf. That Allah discovered that there is weakness in you. Allah discovered there is weakness in you. Now Allah knows that there is weakness among you. Okay. And in Arabic, the word or alam, it means to know, but the word also means like to learn. Ilm, like he discovered almost that there's weakness. And the question is, did Allah know that there was weakness in them before? Did Allah know that there was weakness among them before? Or did he just find out that there was weakness among them? I mean, this you guys, this is in these are just two verses, one after another, that is a complete. I mean, listen to this again. O prophet, rouse the believers to fight. If there are 20 among you, patient and persevering, they will vanquish 200. And if 100, they will vanquish 1,000. For these are people without understanding. So obviously, the Muslims are superior because these people are without understanding. So it's 1 to 10. Okay. But then, it says for the present, Allah, it doesn't say for the present, it says now Allah has lightened the hardship. So apparently there was this verse and they went and fought, they were defeated, and then it comes back and Allah found out. Allah knows that among you is weakness. Now, I mean, this really brings into question: is Allah omniscient? Isn't Allah omniscient? Doesn't He know? This really brings into question Allah's omniscience. Is He all knowing? Is Allah all knowing? Because He didn't know this. It was, I mean, Muhammad lays this at the feet of Allah. He doesn't accept any responsibility for messing up here. He doesn't blame the soldiers. He says Allah was the one who found out. And so Allah is the one who discovered that there's weakness among you. Okay. And I guess a couple of questions I would have. Allah discovered there was weakness among them. Now, is Allah not able to strengthen them? If there's weakness, is Allah not able to strengthen them? If to fulfill His word that one will take out 10, is Allah not able to strengthen them to be able for one to take out 10? Could He not compensate for their weakness? Could He not strengthen them in their weakness? I know that in the Bible, it says, the Apostle Paul says, I rejoice in my weakness, for there I am strong. In the Bible, Paul says, I rejoice in my weakness, for there God is strong. God is strong when we are weak. Okay, but here, Allah didn't know that they were weak. And so instead of strengthening them to fulfill His word, He just lowers lowers the expectation. Okay, instead of doing 1 to 10, let's do 1 to 2. And I wonder if they even accomplished 1 to 2. Allah discovered there was weakness. He didn't know. He didn't know that there was weakness before. He didn't know that there was weakness before. Is He not omniscient? Is Allah not omniscient? Is the word not eternal? Is this word? I mean, from one verse to the next, you have this enormous deflation going from 1 to 10 to 1 to 2. And the way Muhammad always does it, he lays it at the feet of Allah. He blames Allah for this. He blames Allah for for not knowing. He really blames Allah for not knowing. He blames Allah for saying something without complete knowledge of the reality of the weakness that is among these men. Allah said something. He just threw it out there. Yeah, 100 of you is going to kill 1,000 of them because they're weak because they're unbelievers. So Allah's the one that threw that out there. And then all of a sudden, Allah discovers, oops, these guys are weak. Okay, so He just says, okay, Allah has lightened the burden. And so now it's just going to be 1 to 2. And I doubt they even did that. I doubt they even did that, 1 to 2. Never mind 1 to 10. I doubt they even did 1 to 2. But it just brings into question Allah's omniscience. Does Allah know everything? And this is, what's amazing about this is that this is in these verses are like one after the other. It's like right after each other, and you just got this complete. It's like it really makes Allah look. Um, what does it say about Allah? Number one, it says He's not all knowing, and He's not all powerful. He's not all powerful because you know couldn't there's a verse, you guys, in the Quran. It talks about Jibril overturning Sodom and Gomorrah with the tip of one of his wings. With the tip of one of his wings, he overturned Sodom and Gomorrah. And Allah used to send Jibril to fight people that fought against the prophet. Why didn't he send Jibril here? Couldn't he have sent Jibril, since these guys are weak? Okay, these guys are wimps. They're useless. They're not very good warriors. Why didn't he send Jibril? Couldn't he send Jibril to fight? Couldn't he have sent Jibril to fight with them, for them? I mean, Jibril obviously did that. He with the tip of one of his wings. And you guys, Jibril has 600 wings. Jibril has 600 wings. Jibril used to go hang out with Muhammad. He used to go hang out at his house. One time he came to Muhammad's house, and he stayed outside all night long because there was a dog, a puppy, in Muhammad's house, and Jibril doesn't go into a house where there's a puppy. Another time he wanted to go in, but there was an idol in front of Muhammad's house, and Jibril couldn't go in because of the idol, and there was an image on the curtains, and Aisha had to make them into pillows. So he couldn't go in. So Jibril used to hang out with Muhammad a lot. Allah couldn't have sent Jibril to help these guys out. So to fulfill his word. Okay, just to fulfill his word. Okay, because he's the one that said, one of you is going to destroy 10 of them. Okay, 100 is going to destroy 1,000, and 200 is going to destroy 2,000. So couldn't Allah have just sent Jibril and kind of fixed it? Couldn't Allah just had just blew some wind or did something to help them so that his word would be fulfilled instead of changing his word? I mean, this is instant abrogation. Instant abrogation. And I guess the question is, was Allah wrong? Was Allah wrong? Okay. Was Allah wrong when he said this? If 100 of you will vanquish 1,000 of the unbelievers, okay? If there are 20 among you, you'll vanquish 200. If there are 100, it'll vanquish 1,000. Was Allah wrong when he said this? Was Allah wrong to say this? Was Allah wrong when he said this? Was he wrong when he said this? Because he said this, right? This is Allah said. I mean, it's Allah commanding Muhammad, arouse the believers to fight. Okay, this is at the Battle of Badr. Okay, and then now Allah has lightened the hardship, for he knows that among you is weakness. Okay, when did he know? That's my other question. When did he know that there was weakness? From eternity past, when he wrote the Quran, or when the Quran came into existence? Well, it never came into existence. It's eternal. It's uncreated. This is the knowledge of Allah. And so when did Allah know? Because it says here, he knows. When did he know? And the word in Arabic, like I said, is wa'ilm. Khaffaf wa'ilm. There's two verbs there in Arabic. Khaffaf, he lightened. Allah ankum. Okay, Allah lightened off of you the burden because he knew there was weakness. So he did two things. He knew and he lightened. When did he know? Did he not know at first? Did he discover? Is he learning? When it says Allah alam, Allah ya'lam. One thing Muslims always say, Allah ya'lam. Allah knows best. This is the same word right here, wa'alam. Allah ya'lam. And he knows. It's the same word as Allah ya'lam, which, when they say Allah knows best, they say Allah ya'lam. This is alam, the word alam, which is the same word. And so when did he know? Does he know? Or did he know? He just found out. He just found out. Just a question there, how come he didn't know before? Um, I mean, this is a huge change in the, let me just say that in the Bible, there's a story of, when the Israelites went around Jericho, and they went around Jericho 7 times with Joshua, and the walls of Jericho went down. There's a miraculous, and the Lord was leading them. Well, off of the great joy and victory that they had, they decided to attack the next city, which was Ai. And by the way, you guys, I'm from Ai. My village is Ai. Um, so they decided to attack Ai next. Well, they got defeated. They got defeated, kind of like what happens here. But what happened? Was God not fighting with them anymore? Well, they found out what was wrong. What was wrong, Allah didn't, I mean, the true God did not find out something. He knew. And he wasn't fighting with the Israelites because there was sin in the camp. It was the sin of Achan. And God said, Achan, there's sin in the camp. And they found out it was Achan, and they had him stoned and with his family, and they were burned because so many soldiers were killed because of his disobedience. He had taken some of the spoils from Jericho when God said, don't take any of the spoils. This is holy unto the Lord. And he took it. So he was punished for that, and his whole family died because of it. And then they fought Ai and they overcame them. Okay, but there's a very specific reason. They were defeated. They were defeated because there was sin in the camp. God identified the sin, they removed the sin, and then they became victorious. But here, when they lose, Allah just lowers the ante. Says, okay, instead of 1 to 10, let's go down 1 to 2. In one verse. In one verse. And this really says something about Allah. That means he didn't know before. And it says, and it tells you exactly what he learned. It tells you exactly what Allah learned. It says, he knows that among you is weakness. Allah discovered that there was weakness among Muhammad's soldiers. He discovered that. He didn't know that before, apparently. He found out. And so he lowered the expectation. Okay, so when did he find out? Why? Okay, and it's not for a prophet to have captives until he inflicts a massacre. But, okay, so anyway, I just kind of got some questions. I kind of want to look at also, um, to look at, okay, if a Muslim gives you a straightforward answer, I'd be surprised. Like Allah, Muhammad, depending which Quran. Yeah, John Scott, I'd love to have a Muslim come on and answer this. I'd love to have If you walk in my statutes, observe my commands, 5 of you shall chase. Thank you, Houston. 100, and 100 of you will chase 10,000. You see, this is a very conditional. You see, with in the Bible, God said. I mean, Muhammad obviously took this from the Bible. Muhammad was very close with the Jews in Ithrib, which was a Jewish community that he took over and turned into Al Medina, and so he took this from them, and uh, and so, but there's a condition: if you walk in my statutes. But Allah, when He says it, He says, the steadfast and among you will, you know, um, and let's look at the Arabic. I want to look at the Arabic. Okay. يا أيها النبي حرض المؤمنين على القتال. Beautiful words. Incite. O prophet, urge. The word حرض means incite the believers to fight or kill. إن يكون منكم 20 صابرون يغلبوا 200 وإن يكون منكم 100 يغلبون 1000. It says, if there are 20 patient among you, you'll overcome them. And if there are 100, then you'll take 1,000 of the unbelievers, okay? But then it doesn't say that Allah did not find you patient, because the word is patient in Arabic, sabirun. Okay, the word here, sabirun, steadfast. You know, um, it doesn't say you weren't steadfast. It just says that Allah discovered weakness in you. So, and it's not really a moral issue, it's weakness. They were just weak soldiers. Allah discovered this. And so it's very different from what the Bible says. And so, yeah, I do. Most Abduls do not know Arabic. By far, most Muslims do not know Arabic. Only 300 million Arabs in the world. And there are 1.3 billion Muslims. 1.3 billion Muslims or 1.4 billion Muslims. And so only, the vast majority of them, about a billion, don't know Arabic. They know Turkish, they know Persian, they know Afghani, Urdu, they know Pakistani, they know those languages, but they don't know Arabic. And I do know the Arabic. Now, I'm not perfect in my Arabic. I learned up to the 3rd grade, but I know quite a bit. And I know the grammar. I know how to read. I know how to spell most words. So, and I know how to talk. So I'm not perfect, I'll say, but I know enough, and more than most Muslims do, by far. So yeah. So anyway, I'm just curious. Did Allah not know this? Did Allah not know about this? And let's just look at some of the commentary on this. Okay, I'm kind of curious. Let's go to Ibn Kathir. I haven't checked out Ibn Kathir. Curious what he has to say. What is wrong with Ibn Kathir? Shoot. You know what? I think Muslims have discovered how Christians are using Ibn Kathir, and so they are making it difficult to go on there now. 65. O Prophet, urge the believers to fight the disbelievers. If there be 20 of you, you'll overcome 200. If there are 100 of you, They will overcome 1,000 who disbelieve, for they are people who do not understand. This sentence is predicative but functions as an imperative. In other words, let 20 of you fight the 200 and let them stand firm. Okay, so let's go to 66 now. God has lightened the burden, for he knows there is weakness. Read dafan in you, making you unable to fight 10 times your number. So if there be as yakun wa takun 100 of you steadfast, there will overcome 200 of them. And if there be 1,000, they shall overcome 2,000 by Allah's leave and his will. This is predicative, functioning as an imperative. In other words, fight twice your number and stand firm against them. And God is with the steadfast, whatever. In other words, lowered, greatly lowered the expectation. Instead of sending Jibreel with the tip of his wing, he could have destroyed these guys. And there is in the Bible where they were fighting one time, and then they heard the army of the Lord in the mulberry trees. And so God many times in the Bible with the Israelites sent angels to fight with them. Many times. There's the Jehoshaphat. Remember, Jehoshaphat had a small army. He sent the worshipers out. When the worshipers started worshiping the Lord Jesus Christ, the Moabites started fighting the Ammonites, and they started killing each other. Okay, so they destroyed each other. And then there's the situation of Gideon. Remember Gideon? He had an army of 10,000 to go out against 200,000 Ammonites or Moabites, and then God said, "No, that's too much. You're going to get the glory for it." Then whittle them down, and he whittled them down to 300. So it was 300 against 200,000, and then it says that they went and they stood around the camp of I think it's the Ammonites or Moabites, and when they stood around them, they had jars with torches and they broke the glass. And when they did, the Moabites freaked out and they started killing each other and they destroyed, you know. And so many times God sent angels. And then there's the story of Hezekiah, okay, where the Assyrians came against Hezekiah and they had an army of, I believe, 80,000 against Jerusalem. And God said, the battle's not yours. And God sent one angel, and he destroyed all of them. He killed them all. One angel did this. You mean Allah couldn't send Jibreel, who's got 600 wings, and with one of his wings, he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, according to the Quran. And he couldn't have sent Jibreel to help these guys out. So it's his word that's at stake here. Allah's word this makes Allah look weak. This looks bad on Allah, that he lowered the expectation. Rather than rising to the occasion, he lowered the expectation. And so anyway, just a question, all right, let's see what, if any other commentaries. I'm kind of doing this with you guys. I haven't actually seen the commentary myself. So I'm just learning this with you. Okay, he's avoiding it. I don't blame him. Asbab al-Nuzul. Let's see if Al-Mawdudi will deal with it. Al-Mawdudi, you guys, is a little bit more modern than some of these older guys. Okay, he does have it. Okay, he has the first one at least. Okay, here the word understanding is being used in the same sense as morale is used nowadays, right? Understanding is a better scientific term than morale, the moral and mental condition which enables a person to keep up courage and enthusiasm. For it is obvious that the one who understands clearly the objective for which he is fighting would realize that it is more precious than his own life, which would be meaningless if that object was lost, will possess fighting power far greater than that of one who has no clear understanding of the object for which he is fighting. Yo, boy, yeah. Though the two may be equal to their physical powers, above all, the one who has, yeah, boy, yeah, the reduction of the ratio. This reduction of the ratio of the power of the Muslim to that of the non-Muslim from 10 to 1 to 2 to 1 does not mean that this was due to sane deterioration in the morale of Muslims. It simply means that in verse 65, the general principle of the ratio of the power of the believers and the disbelievers was enunciated. And in 67, that principle was applied in accordance with the then existing condition of their morale. Yo boy, yeah, yo boy, yeah. You mean, in other words, Allah didn't know. This means Allah didn't know. It means Allah is not all knowing. He didn't know the morale of the Muslims. He didn't know this. Here he's making more excuses. Look at this. At the time, the morale of the Muslim had not attained perfection. Okay, so Allah didn't know that yet? Didn't Allah? Why did Allah announce that they were going to do this? And then all of a sudden decide that they weren't able? Why did he say it at all? Didn't he know that they had not yet attained perfection? For many of them had only recently entered the fold of Islam and were still preliminary training. Afterwards, their moral reached under the guidance. The ratio of 10 to 1 was actually established and demonstrated practically in the battles during the last years, during the time of the rightly guided successors. I'm not sure that's true, but anyway, um, they have to come up with this, that it goes from 10 to 1 to 2 to 1. And he specifically deals this reduction of the ratio of power of Muslim to non-Muslim from 10 to 1 to 2 to 1 does not mean that this was due to a deterioration in the morale of Muslims. It just means that the general principle of the power of believers to disbelievers was enunciated. In verse 66, the principle was applied in accordance with the existing accord condition. Well, Allah was talking to those people. Allah was telling Muhammad, talk to those people that were risking their lives, and many who lost their lives because Allah told them that there was this ratio was going to happen. When it didn't happen, he changed it. Then he changed it. And so anyway, I'm glad that he at least admits that there was a reduction in the ratio. Let's see if Ayatollah Khomeini says anything. No. Jalalain. Kashani. Let's see if he says anything about this. No, he avoids it. I don't blame him. To study, if he doesn't have anything, we'll go ahead and. Okay, he avoids it too. I don't blame him. I don't blame him for avoiding it. It's a very. It's very confusing. Okay, this is the last one actually. So since there was only one left, I thought I'd go ahead and look at it. Nope, this guy's avoiding it too. I don't blame him. I don't blame him for avoiding it. I would avoid it too. So, yep, yep. You see that's the issue, really, Houston. These verses existed before the creation of the universe, and so. Yeah, so interesting that you would have this great change of ratio in just one verse. The next verse, the ratio is lowered. It'd be interesting to see, and I'll be honest with you. This is what I think. Okay, if there's any Muslims watching or Muslims who will watch, what I think happened is Muhammad This is just all Muhammad's idea. He said, go fight these guys and you're going to kill 1 to 10. When they didn't, Muhammad said, oops, okay, Allah lightens it. That way, he's not blamed. Maybe he didn't hear Allah right, or that way he's not blamed. He puts it all on Allah. Allah now discovered that there's weakness among you. He didn't know before. And so now he, foists it onto Allah, blames Allah for his own incompetence. And then, and you have two verses in the Quran that expose the reality of what Muhammad was doing in those days. So, all right, you guys. Well, I just wanted to show you that. And if you are a Muslim who's watching this, I just want to tell you that our God is all-knowing. The true God is all-knowing. Whoever did this verse situation is not all-knowing, but our God is all-knowing. And so come to the one who knows. Even in the Quran, Jesus is all-knowing. Even in the Quran, it says, يَعْلَمْ الْغَيْبِ. He knows the unknown, the unseen. And about, the Quran even says that about Jesus, that he knows what you ate or what you have in your house, what you say in your house. So come to the God who really knows, the Lord Jesus Christ. He loves you. And, we love you, but more importantly, he loves you. And so we'll go ahead and call it a night, you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us for a few moments. And if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but more importantly, he loves you. Thank you guys for being with us. Have a great night.
If you have ever wondered why dull apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth, this happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.